You're listening to The Breakfast Show on Faith FM with Skafy and Lindsay and producer Sandy. It is the third hour of our program now. We're going to be studying about the book of Colossians. I might tell you what it's a new word in my vocabulary.
What's that new word?
Have you heard about China maxing?
Oh, here we go.
Not me.
Okay, I'm going to tell you what China maxing is. It's a new,
Tell us.
it's a new word
this is
floating around.
Fascinating.
Right.
But before we get into any of that, I am going to ask producer Sandy to please provide us with a new quiz question.
Ooh.
Quiz question number 4 for the morning. What book of the Bible has the most chapters? What book of the Bible has the most chapters? 0491 064 669. Lindsay's on it. What book of the Bible has the most chapters? Correct answer. Also from Skafy. Listeners, we would like to hear from you. 0491 064 669. What book of the Bible has the most chapters?
There you go.
Okay.
Tell me.
Now,
And
you want to talk
also-
about, you're going to jump into our Bible study, or you want to talk about China maxing
Tell me
first?
about the China maxing.
Okay, so China maxing is the new word in my vocabulary here.
Okay.
It came from that idea of like maxing. It's like a slang. It's like a bit of an internet slang. For example, looks maxing
Yep.
or health maxing. Like
Yep.
you're optimizing obsessively your appearance to your appearance or your health and so on. So that's like where the maxing comes from. And now the new trend among particularly Gen Zs are China maxing, which is maxing out or fully embracing Chinese culture, habits, aesthetics, lifestyle. And it's half ironic and half earnest, kind of like
Yeah.
I'm becoming Chinese. And it has been coming from this despondence that the Gen Zs are having regarding capitalism, particularly in the Western world, but mostly in the United States. So the United States, the support for capitalism is at its lowest
Yeah.
since the beginning. I think it's 54%. 5 years ago was 60% of people say, yeah, capitalism is the best model for us
I
to
remember
follow.
thinking like that, like about 10 years ago. I was like, oh, capitalism, it's the worst. And then I grew up a little bit. So
Yeah. So a lot of Gen Zs now are looking at, TikTok videos of Chinese accounts, and they're seeing like, bullet trains and modern cities and lights and all these kinds of things. Saying, man, like these people are so happy. And we have to, I want to become like that. I'm going to max out the Chinese in my life. So I'm going to tell you some examples of what people have been doing with China maxing.
tell me.
So for example, they start drinking hot/warm water
Yes.
instead of iced coffee
so this
or
is
cold
TCM.
drinks.
Yep. Traditional Chinese medicine practices.
Yeah, look, it's part of that.
Yep.
So supposedly to be better for your digestion. Wearing house slippers
Yes,
indoors
TCM,
all
once
the
again.
time. Doing Tai Chi, King Jong, or traditional morning exercises. Do you do that as well?
No, I don't.
Okay. Eating congee, white fungus soup, or
Yep.
other simple Chinese breakfasts.
Yep.
Using herbal skincare routines or traditional Chinese medicine tips.
Yep.
And traditional Chinese medicine. Wearing, I like this one, wearing viral fashion like the Adidas Tang Zhuang tank jacket or tracksuits. Have you seen these jackets?
That's not TCM, but no, I haven't seen
Yeah,
them.
it's like an Adidas like
Okay.
sport jacket,
No.
but with the buttons in the middle, it kind of similar to like the Jackie Chan kind of a traditional
Oh, I
clothes. Yeah,
don't know
so
what that
these
looks
ones, and watching C dramas, playing mahjong.
C dramas, not K dramas. But
No,
C for
C dramas for China. Sipping, bubble tea,
Oh, yeah, I do
obsessing
that.
over Chinese technology in cities like Chongqing in China.
What? Chongqing is a place?
Yeah, it's a place.
okay.
It's a bustling city.
There you go.
Chongqing. So this is the new term, China maxing.
See, I've heard of this as being in your Chinese era on the side of the internet that I hang out in, which is very, wellness and women's health and things like that. And so they get a lot of the TCM practices to, maintain your health and well-being. And actually, being half Serbian, I've often thought a lot of these traditional Chinese medicine practices are very similar to traditional Slavic practices for health
So
and
we
well-being.
can do like Slavic maxing as well.
Slav maxing, the Slavic squat. No,
The interesting thing is that what is happening in China is the opposite. Because the youth in China, they're probably like, they are fed up
Yeah.
with how their life is. And this is the thing, a lot of these times, a lot of these very, very famous TikTok Chinese influencers, they are often supervised by the Chinese state.
Yes, they are.
So they're like state-sponsored videos, so like they're seeing what they want you to see.
Did you ever watch the Liziki videos?
No.
They were just so idyllic, like countryside. This young lady lives with her grandmother.
Oh, I think I've seen
them. She
them.
does like the chopping the vegetables and plowing in the field, and like she probably made like 20 videos, and I would watch them so much. Like they were so beautiful, and then she just stopped. And like the rumor is that she wanted to go beyond what the government was allowing her to, and they put an end to her somewhere or another. We don't know what happened to her.
So what is happening in China is the opposite. It's like Western maxing, and because they're insatisfied with how their life is in China, like, with overworking and many hours and restrictions of freedoms, and you cannot really think what you want to think or say what you want to say and so on. Over there is the opposite, is Western maxing. So underground movement they're trying to become more like the, US kids that are trying to become more like them. So
Mate, nobody's ever content.
Nobody's content. And I think this is the big insatisfaction. I believe the Bible says that the number one desire of everyone is Jesus, except that people don't want it, don't know it.
He is the desire of ages.
God is the one who actually is the only one capable of bringing actual contentment, satisfaction across the board in all areas of life. So you can have your identity. You don't need to be looking for other identities and fads and fashions here and there. And this is yet another symptom of what lacking Jesus in our heart can actually make us look for fulfillment and satisfaction in, other cultures. And even though all of these cultures are not satisfied themselves with their own culture.
Yeah.
So there you go. China maxing for you.
The culture of heaven maxing. Yeah. How about that?
That's right. We should be doing heaven maxing.
And I love it. How do you do that?
Jesus maxing.
Jesus maxing. You have a relationship with Jesus. You're connected to the vine daily. You have the Holy Spirit. You invite the Holy Spirit to live in your heart and transform you day by day. And then you will be kingdom of heaven maxing.
Love it. You should be a word coiner.
A word coiner?
Yeah.
I do like to mint my own words. I figure if Shakespeare can come up with 200 words by himself, I can come up with my own words.
That's right. Look, love
what's to stop any of us,
Heaven
honestly?
Maxing. Have you China maxed Sandy at all? Or what? Or do you max anything?
Music Max.
Music Max.
She is the music meister.
Very good. All right, let's move on then to Colossians chapter 4. We are almost inaugurating a new chapter. We just spoke about it last program. In chapter 1, chapter 4, verse 1, when we were talking about Paul's recommendations or to masters, to business owners, to leaders. You just treat your workers with justice and fairness. That's all. Knowing that you too have a master in heaven. So just like, look, if you're being just, if you're being fair, like that's good enough, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to verse 2, please, Lindsay. Let's see what happens.
We're in Colossians chapter 4, verse 2. It says, "Continue earnestly in prayer, being vigilant in it with thanksgiving. Meanwhile, praying also for us, that God would open to us a door for the word, to speak the mystery of Christ, for which I am also in chains, that I may make it manifest as I ought to speak."
Okay, let's just pause here, because that's a mouthful already.
Yeah, that's one sentence.
Yeah.
3 verses
and
in.
When we're getting to these parts of the writings of Paul, not only Colossians, all these writings, Paul often talks, in the beginning, he talked about true statements. Remember when we talked about truth statements?
Sure.
It's like, this is how the world is. This is how God is. This is how the universe works.
Yeah.
And then from truth statements, we move on to identity statements.
Okay.
Like therefore, this is who we are. We are beloved, we are chosen, and so on. And then he has the what I like to call the lifestyle statements. It's almost like a to-do list, but like part of your lifestyle. And this is where we're coming here. The lifestyle statement that we are looking at here, when you are reading through them in the Bible, the most helpful way I found to go through them is really just from time to time read these passages and compare my life and saying, how am I going with these lifestyle statements? Is my life reflective of that? So let's look at the first one. Devote yourselves to prayer, keeping alert in it with an attitude of thanksgiving. Let's just pause here and just talk about this first word here. Devote yourselves to prayer. What does that mean, to devote yourself to prayer, Lindsay? It's just like praying like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you're good to go?
No, I am often convicted. And if my mum is listening, shout out to my mum, because she prays so much more than I do. And often when she tells me about her prayers, I'm like, oh man, I should pray more like my mum. No, like I will pray. I have a list written down of people to pray for, but I don't always actually pray over that list. It's not something I put in practice as much as I want to. And then throughout the day, I'll be like praying, I'll be like chatting to God and be like, hey, I need help with this thing. Give me wisdom, help me to interact with this person in a kind, loving way, or like, how should I deal with this person? God's like, lovingly or kindly. I'm like, oh yeah, true. But the way my mum prays, she's very dedicated. Like,
okay, what does she do?
Every single day, she will get on her knees and she will pray over a long list of people and things that are like project prayers for her. And she told me recently, you know, there's these couple of families at the school that I help out at. God's placed them on my heart. They've got a lot of kids in each family. And now I'm praying over like 9 extra names every single morning for these specific families. And I'm like, wow, like every single day, not just like when it pops into her head, but like intentionally, deliberately, consistently every day.
I think your mom is really into something here. And I think that she's really reflecting that
she's
counsel
being earnest,
of devoting.
vigilant.
But you'll be surprised with the Greek word behind that devotion. And I would even say that the word devoted might even be a bit of a soft word. The word here in Greek is, let me see if I can get this one right, is proskartereo. Proskartereo.
Okay.
Now, proskartereo can mean to be devoted to, can mean to persevere, meaning not to give up, but it has another meaning that I find fascinating.
What's that?
Which is to persist obstinately in.
Oh, I love it. I'm pretty obstinate most of the time. Maybe not always in prayer, but
in
I'm
prayer.
Obstinate.
So almost like Paul is saying, hey, obsess yourselves with prayer. Prayer max yourselves. Talking about China maxing.
Yeah.
Prayer maxing. Paul is saying, hey, therefore, you have to be prayer maxing your life.
Let's
like,
do it.
Be obstinate with prayer. Like, really do, like, you know, be almost obsessed with coming to God and just talking to Him and asking for Him things. This is it. And I think that prayer is one of the things that we often, for some reasons, it's one of the easiest things in the Christian walk. You just like talk to God and put your repetitions and your thanksgiving but this is one of the things that we do least. Why do you think is that? Why do you think that a lot of people think that they don't pray enough? How does it work?
Look, earlier we had a quiz question about Moses putting his hands up, right? And when he put his hands down, the battle was lost. He needed friends to help him hold his hands up because it actually took such a long time for that miracle to take place, right? The miracle of the battle to be won by the Israelites. And I see a correlation here between prayer and persistence and praying more than you think you need to, because prayer is this thing that is quite invisible compared to a lot of things in our life. Like, we're praying to an invisible God. We're saying words and we're hoping that they land on somebody powerful, his ears, and that he actually does something. And often we're praying with a certain outcome in mind as well. And we're praying with a timeline in mind of when this is going to be done by, what specific thing we're expecting to see. But God does things in different ways. And a lot of times I feel like he tests us just with stretching things out and making it take longer than we think we need to. He sustains us in that process. But a lot of the times I've seen prayers answered 18 months later, and yet he's still sustained whatever it's been asked for. The money hasn't come through, but the miracle has still taken place somehow or other. And so a lot of the time, things take much longer, or they work themselves out much differently, or God gives us a no or a not yet. And he doesn't say it necessarily directly most of the time, what will be the answer. And so praying can be difficult in the sense of you don't know what's going to happen. And if you grow weary in the well-doing of praying and you give up too soon, you're not going to see that answer, but you don't know when is too soon to give up.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point that you bring. And I find that myself, it is very easy to struggle with like finding time to pray because I'm a man of action, like to do things and get busy and do the things of God.
Active, involved.
So what I learned, I try to incorporate some hacks, some prayer hacks into my life. And I think these prayer hacks would help me to do a bit more of these, prayer obsession.
You're listening to the Breakfast Show podcast on Faith FM. Positively different.
Now it's time for our quiz answer and our final quiz question.
The book of the Bible that has the most chapters is Psalms.
Yeah, it is.
Psalms.
And we had heaps of correct answers coming on the chat for that.
How many chapters are there?
150.
Did you know that there are 5 sections of the book of Psalms? And I think they're all about 30 Psalms each.
Okay.
So
I knew there were sections. I've never really stopped
The
to count
first,
how many.
I think the first 2 were like majority written by King David.
Yep.
And then the final 3, I think there was like this, I'm not quite sure about the middle section, but the final 2 definitely were written after the time of the exile.
Yeah, okay.
So it's important to have that understanding so you can see the context of why the emotions are coming up the way they are for these people.
Yeah, really
wow,
cool.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Last question for today. Who was the man from the land of Uz? Who was the man from the land of Uz? Correct answers quickly in the studio. I was about to give out the reference, but if I give out the reference, that'll be the answer. So I can't really do that. So listeners, who was the man from the land of Uz? 0491 064 669.
From the land of Uz, not from the land of Oz.
Yeah.
UZ, who was the man
Yeah.
from
UZ.
the land of
This
He's the man in the land of Oz.
do you know where the land of Uz was?
I'm not too sure. I think it was from what I think I read before. I think it's like Mesopotamia.
I would imagine
area like.
I would imagine it was somewhere there. I think it was written.
Like
I think
Iraq?
I think the story takes place after the time of the flood, but it's kind of hard to tell, to be honest. But it does refer to. Is it Sabians or Chaldeans? I think it's Sabians.
Sabians, Chaldeans. Yeah.
So it's probably around that Babylon sort of area because of that ethnic group that's referred to.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Anyway.
All right, let's keep going here. I promised that I was going to share some prayer hacks. So prayer hack number 1, and this is one that I struggled with for a long time. Like, how long should you pray for? Should you? Because I have seen people say, look, you have to do like 1 hour per day. You have to do half an hour per day. You have to do 5 minutes per day. And like, there's all kinds of recommendations in terms of hours. And then one day, this young man asked Pastor Mark Finley, who is also known for some incredible answers to prayer. And then he asked Mark Finley the question, Pastor Finley, like, how long should I be praying to God? And Pastor Finley has like a very long devotional time. He would pray for many hours at once and so on. And he was like, when he received that question, he was thinking, how should I answer that? Because if I tell the boy like a certain fixed number, what if he gets discouraged because it's just too much for him? Or he's not able to build up for that? Or if I say it's just like a very tiny short number, what if it's not enough?
Yeah.
So he thought for a moment, he prayed. And to God, said, God, help me to give a right answer to this boy. And he answered that he gave is pray until you feel it's enough.
Yeah.
And this is the number 1 hack. Here's less science than it is an art. Just pray until. Just pray until everything that was in your heart is gone. Pray until there's nothing else. You want to talk to God. Pray until God comes to you and he says something to you and says, go, do something. Pray until. That's number 1 hack for a prayer life. So when you're praying, don't put yourself a time limit. I'm going to pray for 5 minutes. I'm going to pray for this. I'm going to pray for that. No, just pray until you can leave that place of prayer feeling heard by God and feeling that God has listened to your prayer, feeling that God has given you the direction that you needed. That's number 1. Number 2 hack is Paul says, pray without ceasing. And that's number 2 hack. So just pray everywhere. Pray with your eyes open.
Yeah.
Pray with
Don't close your eyes when you're driving and you want to pray.
I like, for example, to pray while I'm walking. Actually, this is my number one preferred method of prayer.
Yeah.
Sometimes I need to pray, and I'll tell you something that triggers me going to prayers. But I just go for a prayer walk. I just find that it's easier for me to concentrate. Kind of feels like talking to a friend. But look, the mode doesn't matter so much as long as you are praying. And then praying without ceasing means every time that you're having any thought in your head, you can use that as a prompt to pray to God. Say, hey, God, what do you think about that?
Yeah. I love that because I used to refer to it, and I probably could still do, practicing the presence of God is what I like to call this. It's like when you're just going about your life and like the thing that used to happen a lot when I was driving to work, I used to drive past this paddock full of cows. And I remember specifically one day I was like driving and listening to worship music on the way to work that morning. And I was like, hey, Jesus, look at the moomies. Moomies is like a silly word that I use for cows. It's like a cute, silly thing.
Not like a bunch of mummies, like,
no, the moomies,
draped in.
they go moo and they're cute. So I was like, Jesus, look at the moomies. And I just love that image of like driving along and you're like pointing out fun things to your best friend who is Jesus sitting right there with you, right?
Yeah.
Practicing the presence of God. And like that's a silly and cute thing that I did, but if you can do more of the silly, cute, fun moments, then it's so much easier to bring God into every different kind of moment into your day. So I started there, and then it progressed to God encouraging me that, hey, no matter what you're going through at any point in your day, don't just bottle up and save to your evening devotion times right before bed to talk to me about it. No, as you're experiencing frustration or anger or sadness or, just bewilderment or you need wisdom or whatever, talk to me in that moment.
Yeah.
Share with me what is on your heart in that moment. And that helps with your self-regulation if you're like feeling anxious, or dysregulated in whatever way. But it also just helps you to stay connected to the vine and to be hearing from God real time and not, making it segmented and like you have to wait.
Yeah.
For another moment.
Some people are really good in sharing stuff, like these people that are into social media. My wife, for example, I think she's very good. She has like a built-in journalist vein on her. So she's really good at filming things on her day that are nice and saying something about it. I have absolutely zero tech for that. But with God, it's kind of like that. It's kind of like you're seeing something nice, and instead of having to draw out your phone and film it and post it and put a narration and a nice soundtrack, your eyes are the camera, and you can say, hey, God is seeing that, and you can say, hey, God, look at this one. And look, for example, when I am preparing for the show, my show notes, I was going through the news, I often just pause whatever is the news and I ask God, hey, God, like, did you hear that?
That's funny.
What do you think? I'm asking him. It's like, and then sometimes I hear God answering back, saying, hey, Skafy, like, Joseph, how do you feel about it? I say, I think that, how do you think people will feel about it? Oh, maybe distressed and anxious. And then I ask God, say, God, can you help me think of some Bible passages that relate to that story?
Yeah.
So you can ask that. So the more you know the Bible, also the more conversation you will be able to have with God, because part of your conversation will be, hey, God, can you help me think of a Bible verse that relates to that situation? And the more Bible verse you have in your memory, the more God will be able to bring these Bible verses to your attention.
Yeah, because the Bible is God speaking to you. And so a lot of time in prayer, he will speak to you through a Bible verse that you've already read at some point. Even if you haven't gone out of your way to memorize it, sometimes God brings that to mind. I remember God spoke to me one time when I was stressing out, and he said, do not fret. And I was like, do not fret. That is not part of my vocabulary. Like, that is not something I would say. So that's definitely God speaking to me. And then over the years, I would read various Bible verses where God says, do not fret. I'm like, oh, okay.
This is where it's coming from.
I definitely had read it at some point because I'd read through the whole Bible by that point. So it was already in my mind somewhere. I just didn't, take notice of it previously. But then God showed it to me later that was him speaking through the Bible to me. Yeah.
Absolutely. So these are some prayer hacks, just pray. Pray until you feel satisfied. Just the same way that you would eat a meal. And so don't go on a diet of prayer.
Don't fast from prayer.
Don't fast from prayer. Prayer you can actually really banquet yourself with. Just pray as much as you want. And then pray about everything. Just everything that happens. Just practice that. You see something, you talk to someone at work, debrief it with God. Did you see something interesting? You see a mummy in the road? Just, let God know.
And you know what? The great thing about prayer is that it shows us that God loves to connect with us. He loves spending time with us talking to him, him talking back to us through the Bible. Yeah. And that is ultimately what God created us for. He created us to love us. I like to think of it like this. There was the Trinity in heaven, and they had so much love between themselves that they were like, we want more people to overflow the love to and share love with. And that's why they created people. That's why God spent time with Adam and Eve in the cool of the evening in the Garden of Eden before sin. And then when sin took place, it separated humanity from God. Yeah. And that's why Jesus had to come to bring us back into this right relationship with God the Father. And now we've got the Holy Spirit living in our hearts. We have instant access to God in prayer. This is ultimately what it's about being a Christian, is staying connected to God.
Do you have to pay a premium subscription to have direct access to God, or infinite amounts?
No,
it's free anywhere in the world. You can use it in any language. It's really an amazing. If we are amazed with these technologies that are coming from, imagine that you can talk to the creator of the universe for free, premium subscription, 24/7.
And he loves you.
Yeah. And he's never going to say, okay, I'm too tired or I am too busy for you.
No, he'll never brush you off.
No. So I would imagine, if angels would scratch their heads at us and say, man, how come they're not praying?
Yeah, exactly. And there's a lot of, I was listening to that a testimony from, who was the Satanist guy we were talking about last week?
Gabriel Esteban.
And he says that a lot of the Satanists and the witchcraft people out there, they kind of laugh at Christians sometimes, because they're like, Christians have the ultimate power at their fingertips in connection with Jesus, and yet they just don't use it. In witchcraft and Satanism, they are always reaching for more power from demonic forces, and they can never beat Christian power. The thing is that Christians just don't use their power.
That's so true.
So don't let Satanists or witchcraft people laugh at you because you're a Christian who doesn't use the power that you have access to. Get in touch with that power of God every single day. Pray without ceasing. Invite him into your life. Let him lead you and guide you and give you the power to live as a Christ.
And sometimes God helps us with doing that, because I think we are heading towards a season of economic difficulty compared to before.
Yes.
I mean, just yesterday in Sydney, 40 petrol stations ran out of fuel.
Yeah.
Even though there's,
Sydney,
according to the authorities, there's no shortage of fuel at all.
Yeah.
For the time being.
It's just
prices have hiked up and people are panic buying. This is what the official account is. Who knows?
Who knows?
But you know what? Instead of just being anxious and just mowing on your anxieties all day long, how about talking to God about it? Say, God, I'm anxious. It looks like my money will end before the end of the month. What can I do? Pray, go to a place, talk to God, remember God's promises. I will never leave you. I will never forsake you. Think of the stories of how God provided for people of old, like the Syrophoenician woman in the widow of Zarephath. We talked about her story.
Yep.
So God also often allows difficult moments to come so we can realize that, hey, you know what? Whenever we're anxious, go to a place is the place of prayer. So this is devoting yourself to prayer, or even obsessing yourself in prayer. It's the new Skafy translation here. This is from the Greek word proskarterio, which can mean to persist obstinately, to not give up, to really be diligent about it. And then it says, keeping alert in it with an attitude of thanksgiving. So what's the keeping alert part of things and Thanksgiving? Thanksgiving, I think it's straightforward.
Yeah.
Just, one of the things, we often pray to God because we're going to ask stuff. But actually, you can just go to God just thanking him for stuff. It's it's a beautiful and easy thing.
I remember when I first started this practice, I used to have a prayer group late at night with some security guards at my university campus. 10 o'clock at night, we'd get together and a few of us would pray together. And we decided, hey, let's start praying just with Thanksgiving. Let's just give it a try for a little while. And instead of asking God for things, we would instead phrase our petitions as thanks and say, thank you, God, for what you're about to do in response to this situation.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome.
And then we weren't saying, hey, we expect this particular outcome. We were like, hey, God, this is a situation. We need you to work in it. Thank you for whatever it is that you're about to do. Thank you for helping us to grow. Thank you that we get to be together and pray together. Thank you for what you've done in our day already. And so that was 10 years ago that I started doing that. And has made such a big impact in my life because it puts you in that state of thankfulness. We like to start our show here with gratitudes. When you have thankfulness and gratitude in your heart, you cannot have fear. And so if you are choosing to be thankful in your prayers, you are already injecting faith into your prayers, because the opposite of fear is faith, right? Faith is the opposite of fear. Thankfulness injects that faith into your spiritual life and drives away the fear.
In that way. Thanks for sharing that. That's great. Like, in a heart where there is thankfulness, there's no space for fear. I love that.
Like, at the wavelength level of your brain, they cannot coexist.
They cancel each other out.
Yeah.
Love it. Look, the keeping in one is an interesting one, the keeping alert. It's the Greek word Gregorio. So do you have a friend called Gregory?
I don't have any friends called Greg. That's like not a name of people in my age group, but...
Oh, really? Oh, I have some friends with Gregs and Gregorys.
I know people called
that
Greg,
means to be on the alert one, or the watchful, or awake.
Rightio.
Now, not to say woke, but because it became a bit of a...
We're awake.
Yes, but we're awake. The interesting thing, I think it's another little prayer hack here we can practice. Paul said, devote yourselves to prayer, keeping alert in it. One of the things we can pray to God is, God, is there anything that I should be alert to that I'm currently ignoring? Can you please bring to my mind what is it that I am missing here?
Oh man, I was doing this just last night. I was like, Lord, please help me be aware of anything that might be coming between me and you. And immediately God brought something to mind. And he's been telling me about this for ages. And I've just been really bad at getting rid of this part of my life.
Kind of like, Lindsay, the only thing between you and me
We've
is
talked about this already.
Are these unclean dishes sitting on your dishwasher for like over a month now. Can you please just wash them?
It's a little deeper than that. But God will bring that to mind immediately. Like that's an answer to prayer that he will give you straight away, that one. Like he wants there to be nothing between you and him. So it's definitely
being alert.
Yeah, be alert.
Because sometimes we lose the focus. This is the reality.
Yeah.
We lose the focus. We don't know what's coming. We start, going happy-go-lucky and forgetting certain things. So this is another amazing hack.
And
God, what should I be alert to?
And sometimes as Christians, if we've been Christians for a long time, we think we have it all together, and we can be a little bit arrogant at some point of like, oh, I'm better than these other people. But no, there's still sin in our hearts. There's still areas and room for growth. And it's really important to remember that and to invite God to speak into that for you.
You're listening to the Breakfast Show podcast on Faith FM. Positively different.
I had a few messages that came through here. One of them from Sarah. She said, hey, breakfast team, good morning. How can someone switch to a plant-based diet with little education on what plant-based foods replace current animal protein diet? Thanks, Sarah. Sarah, thank you so much for your question. Look, there's various ways. One way... if you can attend like a CHIP program, it's one that I recommend. CHIP.
They are very, very good.
It's really like the best course that I know of that really help you to transition from to a plant-based diet.
CHIP standing for Complete Health Improvement Program.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
That being said, I believe we have some one book that we're giving away. We can give one away to you, A Taste of Food as Medicine, which with some plant-based recipes, we can send it to you. But this is just like in a nutshell to make it simple. Everything has protein. Okay.
Yeah.
Every vegetable has protein, not as concentrated, not as dense as in animal-based products. However, there are some real champions in plant protein.
Black beans.
They're not the champions. They're really good. Beans in general are really good in protein.
Yeah.
So when you're thinking legumes, beans, chickpeas, they are really good in protein. But you know who the champions are?
Who?
I'll tell you who the heavyweight champions are for protein in the plant world.
I'm going to guess
Nuts.
lentils.
Lentils.
Oh, well, they're top.
Lentils are like crazy amounts of proteins.
Nice.
So black beans and red beans they have, but like lentils almost like twice as much.
Wow.
Per kilo or per gram.
Per gram.
And also tofu.
Oh,
it's incredibly proteic as well.
Yeah, I love
tofu,
it.
tempeh,
flavours from other foods. So,
Yes,
Yeah.
they're easy to make.
Yeah.
They are affordable.
Very yummy.
They're delicious. So, but look, when you're thinking about protein, just think about legumes, beans. Some things that have like surprising amounts of proteins, like quinoa, because we kind of use quinoa as a rice, but it's like a
Yep.
rice with a lot of protein in it.
Yeah.
Chia seeds has a lot of protein. So if you sprinkle
And
some
healthy
chia
fats.
seeds and into your cereal, so
Yeah.
on, chia seeds actually have a ton of protein, actually. Seeds and nuts in general have protein, a fair amount, but like legumes are the champions. But everything will have some protein. Rice, brown rice have protein. So you don't really need, I think that people usually don't need to worry about protein, particularly if you're eating your legumes, like your peas, your beans, and so on. You'll be more than fine.
And it's good to take it one step at a time and make simple swaps. So, for example, instead of having white rice, if you eat rice, have brown rice with your meal, or just sub in some of these plant-based foods for what you would usually use. Like even, I like the black beans that you can sub in and you can make them into brownies. I love brownies, and you can make black bean brownies that are high protein and really good for your blood sugar levels and all that kind of thing. You can just like check out online what are some good healthy swaps and just do it one step at a time.
That's
and
right.
that's a very sustainable way to get into it. Maybe not completely go cold turkey and cut things off if that is difficult for you to sustain, but swap in good things and eat that as a priority over the things that you're trying to sub out.
There you go. Absolutely. Look, there's some people that do better with like gradual changes.
Yeah.
Some people are like cold turkey,
Yeah.
shock treatment. I'm more of the shock treatment
Sure.
kind of a person, but I do understand that some people like to go gradually. But I would say if you start adding like, some tofu and stay tuned. Actually, we have a lot of really amazing interviews every month here with Jeremy Dixon.
Okay.
He owns a plant-based restaurant/cafe in New Zealand, and every month he's here with us on Faith FM, and he has an absolute knowledge, and we have a library of interviews with him on Faith FM, and they
go
give
to the
some
podcast.
really, really good. With one episode, you can really have ideas for an entire week, and all of his recipes are down to earth, are cheap, easy, quick to prep, so they're really practical. They're not like over the moon or anything.
Hey,
So-
shall I give the answer to our last quiz question?
yeah, we should probably
quick?
do that.
Oh yes, before we even forget,
Okay.
please send it.
Job was the man from the land of Uz.
Yes, he was.
Job. Very good. We got a message here from Simon as well. It's let's see if we can reply in time. Says, hey, do you think there is a difference between praying in the spirit and praying with your understanding? Look, Simon, my answer is no, I don't think there's a difference. I know that some people will make a difference. I think that when the Bible says praying in the spirit, it's just meaning you're praying in your mind. You're not praying out loud.
Yeah.
But whenever we are praying to God, I think we should be praying with a level of our understanding of who God is.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're asking for wisdom from God or an understanding,
Something you need in your mind.
but you need to have understanding. I don't. Some Christians interpret praying the Spirit with praying with unutterable tongues that they don't understand and so on. I personally don't interpret it like that. But here you go. I think that praying the Spirit is just praying in your head.
Yeah.
Praying silently, so to speak.
Sure. That's the way I mostly pray.
Do you see this as well?
Yeah. Yeah, that is the most clear understanding that I have that passage.
And finally, we were talking about mummies here and cows. That's
dear.
Lindsay's name. David says, "Hey, Lindsay, it makes me think of the movie Twister." And they're driving, and the female actress says, "Hey, look, a cow!" And hey, a cow again. And the male actress says, "Hey, I think the same cow trapped in the Twister."
Dear.
I remember that scene.
That was a good scene.
It's funny. Thanks for reminding us of that,
movie.
David. Well, this is it, everyone. Tomorrow is the Lord's Day, is the Sabbath. So why not go to a Seventh-day Adventist church, find a great community there, enjoy, worship the Lord together so you can grow in your faith in Jesus Christ.
God be with you till we meet again. God be with you till we meet again. By his counsel's guide uphold you, with his sheep securely fold you. God be with you till we meet again. Until we meet again at Jesus' feet again.
for being a part of the Faith FM family. Join our community on Facebook or get in touch at 1-800-FAITH-FM.